I've never done a video on this person before, but something just told me something would happen where I would end up having to do a video about this person. If you don't know who this person is, their name is Dr. Rachel Levine, and they were put in the position of the Secretary of, let me make sure I get this correct, the Department of Health. The Secretary of the Department of Health, whatever the technical name is for, y'all can correct me down in the comments below, by Joe Biden. And they're currently, going through this trial hearing or whatever, I guess, to confirm their position. Listen, if I have some details wrong, forgive me, because I'm actually not here to talk about their position, but I'm here to talk about this debate that this person had with Rand Paul. I'm not a fan of Rand Paul. I'm not a fan of a lot of them. But on this case, Rand Paul actually asked the hard-hitting questions that should have been asked to this person. Now, before I go any further, this Rachel Levine person is not a biologically born woman. This is a person that was born a man or born a male and transitioned and is now living life as a woman and has this position. Notice the position that they have too, with the Department of Health. That's, enough said. Because they used to be the Surgeon General in Pennsylvania. Like, look at the positions this person had. But I'm going to play this audio for you. It's about 2 minutes and 19 seconds long, and I want you to hear sorry, I almost got played a little bit too soon. But I want you to hear what they say and what Rand Paul asked them and how this person deflected the question. And hear how they talk. This person doesn't even have, their voice doesn't even sound feminine. Like, you would think that you were hearing an actual guy talk. And this person actually talks first. So listen to how they sound.
For transgender medicine. The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question. Do you support the government intervening to override the parent's consent to give a child puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and/or amputation surgery of breasts and genitalia? You have said that you're willing to accelerate the protocols for street kids. I'm alarmed that poor kids with no parents who are homeless and distraught, you would just go through this and allow that to happen to a minor. I would hope that you would have compassion for Kira Bell, who's a 23-year-old girl who was confused with her identity. At 14, she read on the internet about something about transsexual. She thought, well, maybe that's what I am. She ended up getting these puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones. She had her breasts amputated. But here's what ultimately she says now. And this is a very insightful decision from someone who made a mistake, but was led to believe this was a good thing by the medical community. I made a brash decision as a teenager, as a lot of teenagers do, trying to find confidence and happiness, except now the rest of my life will be negatively affected, she said, adding that the medicalized gender transitioning was a very temporary, superficial fix for a very complex identity issue. What I'm alarmed at is that you're not willing to say absolutely minors shouldn't be making decisions to amputate their breast or to amputate their genitalia. For most of our history, we believe that minors don't have full rights and the parents need to be involved. So I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field, and if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and to talk with you and your staff about the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is a very specific one. Should minors be making these momentous decisions? For most of the history of...
Okay, so that it cuts off right there. So you just heard from the Rachel Levine person, because I don't know what their real name is, this Rachel Levine person, and Rand Paul asking the question about should minors be allowed to get these puberty blockers. Now, let me stop right there, because two things got mentioned in that I talked about. Actually, two of the things that got mentioned got put into one video that I did about, man, I can't remember when I did the video. Maybe it was about 2 months ago. It was recent. It wasn't even well into last year. I think it was December. And the thing is, that was a video that I recorded that I went back and forth whether or not I was going to upload because it seemed controversial. But I'm surprised that it actually stayed up. But it was talking about puberty blockers, and he mentioned the puberty blockers, and he mentioned Keira Bell, which was the person in that article that I talked about. For those of you who was around at the time when I did that video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's actually another reason why I'm doing this video too, because I'm like, I talked about that. And I believe that happened in the UK. I want to say it didn't happen in the States. It happened over there. So they're talking about puberty blockers, which basically these kids go and they get to basically not go through the hormonal process like every other teenager or preteen. That, you know, is a natural thing to do that basically helps them transition better whenever they make the decision to want to transition. But then they decided that they didn't want to do that anymore and then went back to what they originally were. But I think it kind of messed them up, you know, along the way. Because they showed a picture of Keira Bell when she was a little girl. Then they showed Keira Bell when she was 20. When she was 20, she looked like a guy. She had the short haircut, the facial hair, and everything. And then they showed a picture of her when she was 23, after she decided to go back to being a female, where she has no facial hair. Her facial features look more feminine again, and her hair is grown out and curly, and she looks more like a woman. But the thing is, they said she has castrated herself, meaning she has removed her breast, so now she doesn't have breast anymore. So it's just like, it's crazy how all of this thing really worked, like, you know, played itself out. And the whole time Rand Paul is asking Rachel these questions, Rachel comes back and doesn't even answer the question. It was a simple question. Do you think that minors should be allowed to go and get these puberty blockers without the consent of their parent? And then this person went all around the world and back, and then led into the part about, we can come to your office and we can discuss this. And what they were talking about wanting to discuss had nothing to do with the question that Rand Paul was asking Rachel Levine. So what I'm gathering is this Rachel person is all for it. Y'all, we are getting into very uncharted territories. It is looking very dark and bleak, where the day is coming where kids are allowed to go and get something called puberty blockers without their parents' consent. And I saw another picture on social media. Hold on, let me pause this right quick and see if I can find it. But before I bring that picture up, I just wanted to bring up the picture of Keira Bell. This is the picture I was telling y'all about when I was describing it. That's her as a girl. That's her when she was 20, living as Quincy. Then that's her now, right there on the far right. If y'all remember when I did the video, this is what y'all saw. But we didn't see the first two. But this is her when she was a little girl. This is her when she decided to quote unquote transition. And this is when her 23, 3 years later, after she decided to go back to being a girl. But as you can see, she's gonna be messed up. But let me pause it again and see if I can find that one picture I'm talking about. I want y'all to look at this picture right here. This is in some place called Edwardsville, Illinois. Never heard of it. And you have all these kids right here where they're painting, and notice that all of the paint colors that they've used, or their canvas, I should say, is in the colors of the rainbow. And we know what the rainbow, at least nowadays, what it stands for, because at one point it did not stand for that, but it is what it is. And all of them have the rainbow on there, basically all representing the academy. And all of these are children. And how ironic, all of them are little girls. How about that? And you can tell this was recent because they have masks on. So this was within the last year. I don't know when the picture was taken, but because they have masks, they have masks. Well, the little black girl, she doesn't have her mask on, but you could tell, and even looking at their faces, you can tell that they, like, okay, the little black girl is like the only one that looks like she's just like, okay, I'll play along, whatever. But it's getting real spooky. And like I said, it's very obvious. Like this one right here, that I'm guessing that's her name. This one just put her handprint there. This one says your Hall G. I'm not sure what this one says. I can't really read it. It says something city, I guess. The little black girl, hers says LGBT plus, and it looks like, is that a heart? This one it's just the standard build, like some buildings or whatever. and this one says St. Louis. I'm guessing that one's St. Louis too, and I guess that's the arch. But all of them have the rainbow background as their canvas. That's not done by coincidence. Because usually when they have these paint things, all the things should be different, but all of them are the same. They just have different wording or text to it. Yeah. Hey, like I said, and they keep trying to claim that this is an agenda. I mean, not an agenda. They can keep claiming it all they want, but we, those of us who are intelligent and use our brain, know what's up. And did I mention that this person was appointed by Joe Biden? This Rachel Levine was put in place by them. I knew the minute that he put that person in there what was coming. It's here now. But hey, this is what y'all voted for. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you text the number below that's pinned in the comments so you can receive notifications every time I upload a new video.